Welcome back to the GSL Uptown matches. I am Wolf, with me is Kaldor, and we're going to take a look at our current scores, but I have something, after we talk about this, I have something I have to talk about that is plaguing the world, the internet, all of computers. I will talk about it after we talk about these matches. Obviously, you can see Heart, Ace, MarineKing going 1-0, and then following things up, Boom Boom, MMA, and Killer 0-1. But that was only the first 6 players. I mean, all the 6 players playing their first 3 matches.
Yeah.
There's so much more that's going to happen in this group. Don't read into this too much.
Today is going to be a long day. We have a 6-player group. We might be here for 15 games. If we have a tie situation, we'll be here a lot longer. So this is going to be a lot of great matches. And the next 3 games will be Killer against MarineKing Prime, Boom Boom Prime against MMA, and Heart against Ace. And here we have a pretty interesting statistic. So these are basically the players that advanced in the recent up and down matches, and as you can see, it's pretty interesting to note that so far not a single Zerg player was able to get out of the up and downs. The situation changed a little bit in this season, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, very interesting side note here, so thank you very much to the production team for supplying us with all this information.
This is actually really interesting information. That basically it shows that part of the reason why Zerg did so terribly last season is that no Zergs were able to get up. So just some additional information that we have for you guys there from last season. And, well, you know what? I'm going to actually save what I had to say until we get into the beginning of this game before I talk about it.
No, I want to know now. I don't even know.
It's something I feel very strongly about. But I don't have too much to say about it, but I want to hear your opinion on this. And I want...
Okay, I'm really confused. I promise if you will put me on the spot with something in there...
No, seriously, it's very simple. You either like it or you hate it. And I'd say that most people hate it and most people are reasonable. But we're going to have MarineKing against Killer.
I am really startled curious right now.
Yo, I am ready to tell you after this game.
I am happy about this.
Today I am asleep, man. But anyways, we are going to get into the game. MarineKing against Killer in chat. MarineKing joking that he is going to follow things up with another Marine Tank Banshee all-in. Killer wasn't happy about that. We'll see what happens. The map is Ohana. The tournament is the GSL. I am Wolf. With me is Kaldor. Let's jump into the game.
And here we are. It is on another Terran versus Protoss. Another Terran opponent for Complexity's Killer. And to the bottom right, we have one of the prime players. It is
MarineKing Prime.
MarineKing. And this is not going to be easy for his Protoss opponent. In the last match that he played against Heart, Protoss lost. And to the top left now we have him in the teal. It's none other than
Complexity Killer.
Okay, shoot.
Alright, so you know how when you have a chatting program, whether it be...
This is already going in a completely other direction. I was expecting something about hair.
No. Okay, so if you have a chatting program like an IRC or AIM or like Pigeon or ICQ, some programs, when you scroll up to read a chat, will yank you to the bottom when someone sends a new message.
Yeah, I know. It's so annoying.
Some chat programs in browsers, for example, I think Twitch's chat used to do this. I don't think it does it anymore. If it yanks you to the bottom when you're trying to scroll up and read messages, it's so annoying. That annoys me so much.
Yeah.
Any chat program that does it, if you're out there listening, developers, listen, if I scrolled up, there's a reason
why I scrolled up, exactly.
Especially if it's a fast-moving chat. I have to keep scrolling up and it just keeps yanking me down to the bottom.
I always start hating the other person because they don't just write one big text and write like 1,000 things. So they just send one message after another.
Yeah,
so every time I scroll up again, I'm yanked down to the bottom like, damn, stop typing for a second.
You know when someone starts typing, I hate this when people do it instant message. By the way, I have a 2 racks opening for MarineKing as he's getting his gas. I really dislike when people type in that way as well as message. Get all your thoughts out at once, send it in one message. Hey, people go, hey, I was just wondering if you wanted to meet me maybe on Saturday. I'm like, listen, that could have been sent in one message, okay? I hate that. All this aside, MarineKing doing an old school opening here. 2 racksing with gas, getting a reactor first. He's going to be making a tech lab on the second barracks. This is a very aggressive opening that was basically stopped in Korea. Hardly anyone is doing this anymore. The only player I've seen that do this recently who's Korean was actually Heart. He did this against Huck.
it's really not all that common anymore, and I remember that a lot of Protoss players were actually wondering when the Terran was going for this build, and they were like, why did you do this? This didn't work, and it's not that strong. There are better builds out there. It might be the element of surprise that MarineKing is banking on now, as he's going for Concussive Shell right away. And let's be honest about it, if there are no scouting information for Killer, he might have a problem here. He might be a little bit too greedy and be surprised by it.
You know, as well, MarineKing was joking in chat he was going to go for the all-in. And then if he comes up here with a probe or even with his stalker and tries to scout and he sees a reactor at the top, he's going to be like, oh, what if it's that all-in?
Trying to hide the... I actually expected the probe to come to try to get a glimpse here at the Nexus, but sorry, not the expansion, but there is none, and MarineKing moved his Marauder a little bit back, so even if there was a scout, the Marauder would have not been spotted. Oh, but now is he moving?
Sees it. This is going to punish someone who goes for a very fast Nexus, which we do see Killer going for. He's actually now trying to chrono boost out his sentry.
He only has one, though, and one sentry is not going to be enough to wall off at the low ground.
Yeah. That one sentry just popped out. He starts the second one. He's still continuing to use that chrono boost. The sentry build time was fairly recently reduced to help with the 4-gate problem that existed in PvP, and that's going to allow him to get the second sentry out fairly quickly here.
The bunker.
With the SV, he will bunker here, absolutely.
And there it is. There's the bunker, and here comes the Stalker.
Nice
First
targeting
Stalker
on the Stalkers.
gone. The second one dies as well, and suddenly there's only probes and 2 sentries left, and the sentry dies.
You know what, Keldor, man?
I think that might actually be already it.
He's not stopping the bunker either. The probes are going down.
But he doesn't have anything to... he can't even force field the ramp, and suddenly he's in the main base.
He's got one pylon powering all of these gateways.
Oh my god, if the pylon dies, MarineKing should have actually just attacked it, but well, with all the probes he's taking apart now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for him. He's got the bunker on the low ground. It will not matter.
Wow.
And Keldor, you know what I'm so happy about? Is that we are seeing Terrans go back to the old days, struggling against Protoss.
It's not only Terran, it's a lot of races that just suddenly start to rely on strategies that have been so popular like a few months ago, but then they've fallen out of fashion just because their opponents were able to defend against it, but now they don't expect it anymore.
They don't, and going back to this old style is so awesome. If you go back to this, if you kind of take a step back, I just got a wink from Sella, man. He gave me a wink, so I had to give him a wink back, but if you go back to this old style, you find yourself catching Protoss off guard. We saw several Marine Tank Banshee all-ins today. We're seeing this 2-Rax play coming out for MarineKing, and it's something all Terrans right now are complaining about. Late game Protoss is tough. It's a really difficult matchup to... Stop distracting me, man. I gotta go on a rant here about going back to the old style, alright? Don't show me funny pictures on your tablet while I'm trying to talk about how Terrans are going back to old styles and killing Protoss because the upgrade style is tearing them apart. The ability to get storms out early is really difficult to deal with. I think that with all these things going on, it's cool to go back to the 2-Rax. It's cool to go back to the 2-Rax proxy or even the 3-Barracks proxy. All sorts of crazy styles coming back in here. The Marine Tank Banshee, the Cloak Banshee, we're seeing it all.
Yeah.
I
completely agree with you. I mean, I was talking about this earlier. It's not only Terran, it's a lot of races that actually fall back to a place that we had in the past, and I really like it. It's just, even with the 4 gates, we had, not really in the last 2 weeks, but before that we had a lot of 4 gating against Zerg. And that helps, that works, that actually works. I mean, Seed pulled it off, a couple of other players did it as well. And a lot of Zerg players died to it, also in the GSL, because suddenly they did not expect it. They were like, yeah, why would you go for a 4-gate? 4-gate is such an old strategy, and it has been figured out. We know how to defend against it. But if you're suddenly faced with a strategy that you had to play months ago, and it's completely out of fashion right now, and you don't expect it, it might just hit you way too hard, and you might just lose to it. So I like it. I like it to mix it up. And usually this strategy, we talked about it in the early game, is not that effective anymore. But with the build that Killer chose and, well, no scouting information, it was like, wait a second, Marauders with Concussive Shell, what do I do now? Yeah. He could have sacked the natural, but he was in a very bad situation anyways. But defending the low ground was just not possible for him.
We've seen Protoss is able to hold this build when they go up to 4 barracks behind it, or 4 gates to do some pressure afterwards, or the double gate into the robo can hold it as well, depending on when you make your gateways. But I feel like his micro could have been a little bit better as well. But again, that that type of build where you add your gateways a little bit later is oftentimes going to die us. Anyway, we can move on to our next match, which will be Boong Boong against MMA. And even though many would consider MMA the favorite here, with how Boong Boong played against MarineKing earlier, I think he definitely has a shot. This is the GSL up and down matches, Group E with Caldor and Wolf.
And this is one of the games that I was looking forward the most. This is going to be crazy.